So I'm going to be showing how I compose a piece of music. It's to help my sons if they want to compose music later in life or now, if they're ready to do it now, which they're not because they're not even practicing their Bach. So it needs to be a little bit later, I think. Sadly. Anyway, I'm not going to force them. I think that music should not be forced until maybe some signs of talent have shown themselves. If you think about Beethoven, he was forced by his dad to do music. I'm sure he was forced to compose. He was forced to play, apparently. Anyway, he showed talent, obviously. Was it a good thing that he was forced to compose? Well, shall we leave that for the social services to decide, or shall we leave it to posterity to decide as to the merits of Beethoven's opera? So I just put that forth, and now I'm also going to show this. This is such a good book. It's just there's so much like deadpan wisdom in it. I mean, he wasn't a Christian, it seems to me. That he's given that, assuming that it's true, what is recorded. Some people don't think it is. It was told to Volkov. It sounds true. It sounds as though this is true, but who knows? I don't trust anything, which is not the Bible. I don't trust anything. Anyway, this is Shostakovich's class. He says that he doesn't believe, etc., but nevertheless, he was a good musician. I don't actually like his works except the second piano concerto, the first cello concerto, and the first violin concerto. I think it's the first one, or maybe the second one. I don't like any of his symphonies. I don't like any of his preludes and fugues. I like the Gadfly violin piece. So I prefer Prokofiev's music to Shostakovich. Shostakovich has got nothing really good to say about Prokofiev, and that makes me suspicious, because whose music has lasted, Shostakovich's or Prokofiev's? Prokofiev's, Anyway, I don't like all the Prokofiev stuff either, but anyway, this is his class, and his teacher, Nikolaev, is here. Nikolaev's teacher was for harmony Tanev, and Tanev learnt from Tchaikovsky. He was taught composition by Pyotr Ilyich Tchaikovsky. Okay. Also, he was taught by Leschetitsky, who was taught by Czerny, who was taught by Beethoven. So his lineage goes to both Beethoven and Tchaikovsky. He taught somebody called Liberman. I don't know if Liberman is in this class. Here we got Shostakovich and Udina and Sopronitsky. Sopronitsky and Udina were famous pianists. Shostakovich was also a pianist, but and he won second prize in the Chopin competition, I think. But he obviously was more of a composer. He was better known as a composer. And this person, Liberman, who may be in this class, he was taught though by Nikolaev. He's this one here, I think. So Nikolaev is second to the seated fourth from the left, so I'd make it out to be him there, not him there. Anyway, Liberman was also taught by Nikolaev, and my teacher was taught by Liberman when I was in Moscow. Okay, so just wanted to put that forth before I demonstrate my poor definition of composing, but I want to make it simple and understandable for my sons so that they can compose. It's not as difficult as you think. You don't have to hear music in your head to do it. Although some people did, like Tchaikovsky apparently did. When he was younger, he heard music in his head. Some people hear music in their head. Doesn't think it means anything. I also heard music in my head during what Dali, the painter, calls the sort of a subliminal time. It's the time, it's got some other word, but it's the time between waking and sleeping. That's what his paintings are supposed to represent, not actual dreams. So in that time, whatever he calls the crepuscule of consciousness, for example, that's when I heard music. It was like a symphony that I could hear every single instrument very clearly. Could focus in on an instrument. The music was not particularly great. But it was like a classical. It was like a classical symphony going on and on and on and on and on. It was lovely, not particularly remarkable, but absolutely in my head, and I could hear it, and it was in this moment of between waking and sleeping. It happened a couple of times. But I don't think you have to have that to be a composer. I don't think I'm a composer, but I do compose some music, and maybe that music should be called muzak. I think that's what John Lennon called the music of Paul McCartney, who I also met. I met so many people, so many musicians, but that's just, for some reason that's happened. Rostropovich I met. I met who's the great cellist who Shostakovich dedicated pieces to, and Prokofiev as well, and so forth. So I don't want to talk about musicians I've met. There are too many for me to list really anyway, for me to think about it. So here I'm going to be taking you through a scherzo, because I've decided that I need to write a scherzo. I've already, I will admit, written the middle section, and that's what I've already put out as a prelude. It's in C minor, and it's a prelude which I'm happy with, and I want to put that in the middle of a scherzo to make it sound a little bit, to make it resemble, so it's like a copy of the way Chopin has done his scherzi. So something absolutely beautiful in the middle. The bit I wrote, this prelude, is not amazingly beautiful, but it's the most beautiful thing I've written, I think, and I'm so surprised by it that I want to also put it in the middle of this scherzo. And on either side I want to put some funny things, because the word scherzo in Italian means joke. My favourite scherzo is the movement called a scherzo from Schubert's A major sonatas, movement number 3. Something like that. Yeah. Now I'm just gonna turn over my sausages before I begin, but maybe I will just leave this. This is the middle section, which I want to put in. No, this is the beginning section. Sorry, this is the beginning section again, which I'm gonna hopefully develop and put it basically on either side of the middle section. So have a look. I wonder how I can focus this while I turn my sausages. No, that's not working. Do it here. So there. Okay. Hopefully that's clear. Yeah. Just looking at the notes, though, the stuff I've written up here is to remind me, because I haven't got much music paper, so I've had to say various stuff has continued, and that I'm putting this prelude bit in, which I've already written actually, in the middle of between these two sections. I would like to develop this a little bit. Alright, I'm coming back. Okay, so now, hopefully that was not invisible. Now on that, I'm just going to add some more notes. Get my pencil. Now, this is what it should sound like, something like this. I put the numbers to help me to remember which finger to use. Okay, now it's going to change this. No. And then back to this. No, it just did this now. Back to the beginning. Okay. Same thing here, right hand. Now it changes the right hand when it goes to this. And then it was going to go, first time it goes back to this. Yeah. That's a bit different to what I wrote, but I think it's more interesting. And so I know what I do. I don't need to change all that. I know what I want to do. So, and that brings me more easily up to here because I can. Because before it was just this. The same thing on the right hand. Same thing on the right hand, even here. Same thing again on right hand. And then the second time around it would be different, not here, and then just be different here on the third time round, up to here. And then, because that can bring me up to here on this next one. And back to here. So it's basically what I want to do now, so let's do the whole thing again. It's basically once without going up, and second time it goes up onto the next. So do it slowly. I think I might just keep it here for now. Now I will change it. So here. And now I'm going to jump from that E flat back right up to this A. So I'm beginning again. but on this octave. Oh, sorry. Now here it changes. Change to I'm going to do a run. Here I said to the left rib, but I think I'll go from here. No, I won't. I'll go from there. I'll go from down here. And then, okay, that's an F, like an F, an F. Suspended F chord. It ends up on the C, and then pause, and then on the A, an A octave plus the E, and on the same time this, and I'm more concentrating on the right hand, so softly here, and here it's on the A, it's just an A arpeggio, A flat. Something like that, and then I'm going to go to this, okay, which is what my prelude was. And now here on this scale, slowly. Same scale. And now here I'm going to go on the C minus arpeggio F, and then these two, and then I'm going to go back to this, to the beginning. Okay, so that's the basic idea. So I would just need to write that in. So this I've written basically. You know, I change it slightly so as it goes up. But you've got to have a lot of music paper, you see, to do all this. And if you haven't got a lot of music paper, it's easy to make a mess. And you've got to write words and stuff. So I'm not even going to bother to continue that. That's what the Scherzo will be. So I'll just play the whole thing again. The main thing is really just to show how easy it is to write music. You know, just write it in. Once you can write that thing, this treble clef, yeah, and it becomes a real easy thing to write it. This there, yeah. Just start with this bracket. Lovely bracket, okay, and then just start on the G. Okay, it's called the G clef because it begins on the G, and it goes around clockwise and up and straight down through the beginning circle. And this called the F clef because it goes around the F. The circle's on the F. Again, it goes clockwise. Okay, just like that one did, but it starts on the F, and by the way, this one starts on the G. And it goes clockwise until it touches the E there, and then it comes up, yeah, and goes straight down, like I said, and it ends probably on the C, okay. And then this one, the F, it starts on the F, goes around, and it goes whoosh down, easy, and it's got two dots on either side of the F, okay. And once you can do that, then choose your key. I mean, what I recommend here is don't put any key down at first, just write the notes down, whatever you're doing, okay. with a dot. Make sure that it's a dot which is very precise, and then put the tail. I would put tails down for the left hand and tails up for the right hand. Okay, I put them down here just because I put words, I couldn't fit them in. And then I would say you put the key in afterwards, yeah. As you find out what you're happy with, etc. But just put the dots in, and then, you know, then put the flats and the sharps in next to the notes. That's what I would do. Then, at the end, put the key in that you want, yeah. And when you've already got the flats and sharps, well, don't worry about it. It's not like a double flat or a double sharp. You know that. So you can put the key, so whatever key it most conveniently fits in at the end, you know. But first of all, don't put any key in. Just write the notes and put a flat or a sharp next to each one, if you want it to be flattened or sharpened. And that's what it'll, you know, it'll look like that, something like that. Okay, so I'll play the whole thing like how I wanted to do it, basically. So Scherzo should be funny and stuff, so I'm going to maybe begin with this. Let's just turn that up. So maybe I'll begin like this. No, I don't want to begin. I'll begin in a solemn sort of way, like Schubert did, except like Chopin did, except for the first and the fourth, especially the fourth Scherzo. They're kind of, you know, number 1 and number 4. Number 2 and number 1 as well. They're such amazing pieces, those Scherzi by Chopin. That's amazing. Anyway, whatever. However he begins, I'm going to begin in a solemn sort of way, a bit like number 3. Okay. So I'm not going to begin this way. After all, I think number 4 begins in a very light-hearted manner, and I don't want to begin like that. Otherwise, I would begin like this, and then I begin. No, I want to begin in a sort of not solemn, but in a quite solemn manner. Certainly not in a joke way. That has to come a little bit later. And the more beautiful section is going to be in the middle between these two sections. So here we go. I'm going to do it slowly because I can't remember exactly what I'm doing here. So I'm going to begin straight away with right hand. Is that right? Yeah. So something like that. And there is how I compose a Scherzo, boys. And that's my recommendation for doing music. I would base your compositions on something that the great masters have already done. I don't think anyone started any different way. I think even Chopin didn't begin without any reference to older masters. But, Chopin comes to mind as being the most inventive of the composers for piano, and Beethoven. Yeah, so Beethoven and Chopin for me, the most inventive of the composers. My favourite is Schubert. So copy to some extent these composers, and then like try to go your own path, rate your own path. But you can see what I've just done. It's very reminiscent of Chopin in the beginning, in the middle section. That was on purpose anyway. I wanted it to be a carnival prelude for Chopin, but it works, I think, well for the middle section of a so-called scherzo, which is supposed to resemble Chopin's, i.e. something beautiful in the middle and something sort of skittish on either side, or something different on either side. It's not as if he just wrote jokey things on either side of a beautiful central part, but certainly that sort of reminiscent of his kind of sort of way that Chopin, as I understand it, has done his Scherzi. I think they're the greatest works for piano of Chopin, just like I think that Schubert's impromptus are his best, along with it, and his Klavierstücke. And if you combine them, I mean, there's 8 impromptus. There's 3 late Klavierstücke. Yeah, they're my favourite piece. And Beethoven, his sonatas for me are the best that he's done. And for Bach, his preludes and fugues. And Rachmaninoff I like a lot as well, and I would say his concertos. I also like his preludes very much, and his etudes tableau as well, but mainly his concertos. Okay, so be inspired by whoever you like in terms of classical composers, and write your works. It's not as difficult, I think, as it seems. And get some music paper, learn how to do that treble clef, and learn how to do the bass clef, and put the points in wherever they are, and then put the key in later if you have to. Just to make it sort of easier for the pianist to know, or the piano player to know what black notes he will be using mainly. And there we go. Now this is in contradistinction to what someone like Shostakovich says. For example, he says don't compose at the piano. He calls it something like improvising handicap or something, and he despises it. Some people don't compose at the piano, and he apparently liked to work like that. He's on his own. The music was in his head. But some people do. I imagine Chopin composed at the piano. I think that Schubert probably didn't at the beginning, but then he got given a piano by his dad, and so certainly his last works were after he'd been given that piano. I'm sure he used that piano to compose. He may have used a piano to compose before then, but at that stage he was certainly using a piano. Maybe that's why those last 3 sonatas are so great, and they are great works, great sonatas, up there with Beethoven's, perhaps surpassing, in their own way, Beethoven's greatest piano sonatas. They're just different. They're wandering, and they're not like structural monoliths in the same way Beethoven's are, but they are the the wanderer wandering over the Austrian hills, and as Brendel said, they're like a sleepwalker walking over a precipice very often, and that's what Schubert is. And Chopin is like, for me, sort of as Rachmaninoff said about Chopin, he said he's so modern, he's so much more modern than any of the modern composers, and that's true today. He's so modern. It's very remarkable. So, and that Chopin, he's just he's like he only composed for the piano. I mean, he composed a cello sonata to use the piano there, and he did songs, but they have piano. The piano concerto, of course, but 2 piano concertos. But yeah, he still hasn't got the depth which someone like Schubert or Beethoven has. Even Rachmaninoff has, for me anyway. I mean, there are occasionally he does like the 3rd Scherzo or the C minor nocturne, the big one. I think he wrote 2. But still, it's not sort of indicative of his. It's not a characteristic of his general, I think, output. He's not the deepest of composers. As my dad said, he is a brilliant composer. So there's a lot of that in Chopin. Actually, the brilliant style. For example, in the Andantes, that Polonaise, the Polonaise, the one that begins with an Andante spianato. There's a lot of that, which is, it's the brilliant style. But a lot of Chopin's pieces are like that. A lot of the waltzes are like that. But they're remarkable pieces, nevertheless. And I think what my dad meant was that he's brilliant in a positive sense, and he is absolutely brilliant. But for me, he's surpassed by Schubert and by Beethoven. But still, his Scherzi, I think there's nothing like them. I don't like the ballades really as much at all. I like the way Pogorelic plays the ballades, but I don't like them as pieces that much. I don't like the G minor one, which everyone likes. I don't like that. I like the end. I like when it's the accelerando part at the very end. Just that's the only bit I like. The very end of that ballade. I don't like any of the other ballads really. I don't like any of them. I prefer all the others to that number 1, but I just like the ending of that number 1. I suppose I like the number 4 best out of those ballads. I like number 2 a little bit, the way Pogorelic plays it, and I can't even remember number 3. Oh yeah, it's just pretty, I'd say, mediocre really. I don't like them. They're a bit too rambling for Chopin. Rambling belongs to Schubert, who knows how to do it properly, I think. But Scherzi, for my favourite Chopin pieces, I like his concerto number 1 and 2, the middle movements especially. Those 2 middle movements are incredible. And yeah, Beethoven, I love all his stuff, his symphonies, his quartets, and Schubert's quartets. Yeah, Beethoven and Schubert's quartets are my favourites, really, pieces, really, especially now I do love Beethoven's quartets as much as Schubert's. I'm going to say I prefer Schubert's late quartets to Beethoven's, but actually I like them as much. So my favourite Schubert quartet is number 15, which is the G major one, and of course the quintet is great, but I prefer the G major quartet, D887, Deutsche E887, I think. And in terms of Beethoven, I like sort of equally really his F minor one, or F major, is it? It's the one which is number 11. Number 11, I think it's an F. Can't think how it goes. Anyway, number 11, and also number 15. I like very much. Everyone likes number 15. I like number 12 very much, and I like number 14. I don't like number 9. 7. I love number 6. I love number 1. And there's so many of his quartets. Schubert's, I love the number 14 and number 15 and number 13 as well. So Schubert and Beethoven are the greatest because they didn't only do piano work, but they did these amazing quartets and their symphonies. Schubert's 8th Symphony is my favourite, and Beethoven's number 7 is my favourite. But all of Beethoven's symphonies are incredible, and Schubert's number 8 and number 9. I just like his number 3, and number 5, and number 3. Yeah, they are such masters. Bach, I love his. I love Chopin's mazurkas as well. All of them, all of his mazurkas are wonderful. Every one of them is remarkable. As Horowitz said, each one is better than the last about the mazurkas of Chopin. And Chopin's nocturnes, I love them all. The one I play, the C sharp minor, is probably my least favourite. But the way it's played by Pletnyov is amazing. I like very much the B flat minor one, and I would recommend listening to somebody called the B flat minor. What's his name? You've got to listen to his version of this B flat minor, nocturne. The D flat major one, of course. Tiffany Poon plays that best. And what's this guy's name? He's on tone bass piano. And his one for the B flat minor one, it's number 1. The number 1 nocturne. Yeah. What's his name? Seymour Bernstein. Seymour Bernstein. Check out that. It's like a golden age recording. It really is. It's like it's Rachmaninoff playing. And Rachmaninoff's recordings we've got. Rachmaninoff Golden Age? But, it's like Hoffman's recordings, or Rachmaninoff's recordings. That's what it's like. And it's a modern recording, so that is very interesting. I don't know how he got that sound. I would recommend Pogorelic for the ballads, as I've said. I'd recommend Schiff for the Schubert. I think he's great. Andras Schiff. I'd recommend Tiffany Poon for some Chopin. I would recommend. I wouldn't recommend Ashkenazi. I recommend Ashkenazi for the 3rd piano concerto of Rachmaninoff and all of the concerti of Rachmaninoff. I think he plays them superbly. And I would recommend Schiff again for Bach, and I'd probably recommend Richter for Beethoven. I wouldn't recommend Schiff for Beethoven. He seems to make mistakes fairly often with Beethoven.